All right, welcome back. We have Miss Theresa Robichaux. We're going to talk to her. She is a candidate for clerk of court. But first of all, we have Mr. L.P. Bordelon in the Terrebonne Parish School System who's on the line. Mr. L.P., thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Martin.
Now, look, we had a caller call in. I guess you made a good point, and I'm going to let you handle it in the way that you can handle it. School tomorrow in Terrebonne Parish. Just give us an overview of it, and what happens if they can't get their vehicles out of where they live? What would happen in that instance?
Well, Martin, I don't know of any specific areas that I have not been informed of any specific areas that are facing that problem. On the island, on Ile-de-Jean-Charles itself, I think the parents at this point bring their kids up to the front. I don't think we have buses going to the island. Now, I don't know of any other places that are flooding. In the Dulac community, again, no one has brought me anything that says that the water has receded or that we can get into those areas as of yet.
Yeah. Now, I know that our cameras could not get into lower Dulac today.
Yeah, right. Okay. Well,
Yes.
Martin, if the roads are impassable, if there's water over the roads, I don't think we'd be sending any buses down there. The schools are open, though.
Okay. Now, let me just ask you, because it's an obvious question, but I guess, too, as a parent, they would want to make sure their kid wouldn't be penalized if they can't. Is there some kind of grace system that you give them if they can't make it out of there?
Well, I would think that is some type of excused absence.
Okay.
I think that's the least of the parents' concern right now. We'd rather see them, getting their houses in order and,
Right.
getting back in their homes and everything else. And the school system will take care of, that type of excused absence.
Okay.
We let them make up work, and I'm sure there are no tests being given tomorrow anyway or anything like that.
Yeah.
I think, like I said, I think that should be the least of the parents' concerns. If they can
Okay.
get their kids to school, so much the better.
Well, I'm glad you cleared that up. I know we had a couple of people concerned. One of them actually called on the show tonight, so we're glad you called and at least gave us some direction on that.
Okay, bud.
Thank you, Mr. LP.
Thank you, bud.
Okay.
See you
Bye-bye.
later. Bye.
All right, we're now joined by Ms. Theresa Robichaux. Welcome to the program.
Hi, Martin. Thank you very much.
I know you're a candidate for the clerk of court, and everyone gets a chance to come on and sort of tell us a little bit about themselves and
Okay.
their qualifications, so you have it. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you, Martin. First of all, I'm a resident of Terrebonne Parish and have been for 54 years. Grew up in Berg. My parents, Jerry and Kathy Arsenault, still reside in Berg. I have an older brother, David Arsenault, who, as you know, is a district judge here in Houma. A younger brother, Tim, who is a pharmacist in Houma. I'm married to Rick Robichaux, and we have two grown children, Stephanie and Craig. I have worked at the clerk's office for 24 plus years. It actually started out as a summer job. I was in between semesters at Nicholls State. And I started out in the criminal department, and I loved it so much that I decided to stay. And I've made it my career. I started out in criminal, became supervisor of the criminal department, and then became a minute clerk for the district judges in Terrebonne Parish. And right now I'm assigned as a minute clerk to the hearing officer. So,
Those summer jobs that always turn into full-time jobs.
right, correct.
What are some of the things that the clerk of court handles? Because a lot of people out there who are watching probably wouldn't know a lot of things that you would do as a clerk of court that
True.
Mr. Bobby has done. I want to tease Mr. Bobby for 85 or 90 years. So what are some of the things that you do as a clerk of court?
Well, the actual job description for a clerk of court is the safekeeping of the public records. But at any given time, you're likely to use the clerk's office, whether it be for a marriage license or a passport. Anytime there's a judgment recorded, if you buy property, that property has to be recorded. If you have jury duty, you will utilize the clerk's office. So there's many factions that
It's not so much I don't want to say it's a very important job, but it's not so much in the limelight as other big positions. But if you got to take care of the records,
Correct.
That's a very important job.
It's very important, and I think that's probably the safeguarding of the public's record is the utmost importance, because one of the initiatives I'd like to do with the clerk's office is to get us online so that the public has access and can more or less bring up their records from their own home. And what's important about that, though, is that you maintain the security of those records and make sure that no one's private information is leaked. So you're right, the clerk's office, there's a lot of different factions to it, but the main part is to safeguard the public's records. And one of the biggest things about being clerk of court, and one part that is overseen by the clerk, is the elections.
Right.
And that's huge, as you know.
Yeah. We always work with the clerks on the elections.
On election
Every
night.
clerk, though, has different ways that they want to carry the election process back to the media. What are some of the ways that you think it should be done?
Well, I think right now the way the election process is done, as you know, I've been an election commissioner and I've worked at the polls. And so the integrity of those results is of utmost importance. Mm-hmm. And right now, the way it's done with computers, it's all computerized now. It's not the old way where you pulled the lever and everything was done by hand. And I don't see how, without compromising the integrity of the elections, that it can go any faster, because as soon as those polls close and those machines are calculated, the results are taken out of the machines. Mm-hmm. I've worked there, and I would say within a half hour to an hour, those results are at the clerk's office and fed to the Secretary of State's office within minutes. So it really can't get much quicker than that to the media.
Right. How many employees are employed in the clerk of court's office? How big a position is that? Who do you control?
As of Friday, I believe there were 70. It's about 70 employees.
70 employees? Mm-hmm. Okay, I never thought it was that many. Mm-hmm. So it's a big department.
It's huge, yes, it
so
is.
There's a lot of, how do you safeguard? Because what happens if there's a fire or a flood or whatever? Is there ways to safeguard the records, or do you have multiple locations, or how does that work?
We do. We have multiple locations. As far as the physical evidence, a lot of that is kept in a vault, which is protected from fire. The records themselves, we just recently, after, I believe it was Katrina, the courthouse was lucky in that it did not flood to the extent that other courthouses did. But those records were elevated and put on rolling files that keep the records up. Most of the records are up and above off the ground. So,
right. So you've worked there, how many years you said you worked there?
24 plus.
24. Mm-hmm. So you decided, all right, it's time, of course, Mr. Bobby decided he wasn't going to seek re-election, and you decided you wanted to jump in. Was it a big thinking process, or you just decided, hey, I want to jump into the race?
No, it wasn't a big thinking process. It was something that I had thought about for a number of years, but knew that it would never happen as long as Mr. Boudreaux wanted to be clerk of court. And when he made the decision to retire, it took me about a day to make that decision. I haven't looked back. I'm pleased with my decision. I feel good about my decision, and the campaign is going so great that I have no regrets. It's been wonderful.
Let me ask you, though, you're going to miss every day just not hearing those jokes from Mr. Bobby?
Well, you know, I'd like to carry on his legacy of integrity and fiscal responsibility, but that's one aspect of Mr. Boudreaux that I cannot carry on. No one can tell a Boudreaux-Thibodeau joke like Mr. B, so no, I wish I could.
He does it quite a bit, doesn't he?
He does, but he does a great job. He's a great storyteller.
Thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate it. I know we give everybody an opportunity to come by and say a little bit about themselves, and we appreciate you coming by tonight.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Once again, Ms. Theresa Robichaux, and we'll take a break. When we come back, Harry McCullough is going to be up, and he's going to talk sports. I know it's a welcome change, not to talk about water all the time and everything else. So we'll have continuing coverage also tomorrow on any updates on floodgates and floods and everything else. So we'll be right back. Harry takes over. Don't go away.